Hello guys, welcome back to the video, and today we are reacting to No One Understands This Movie by PewDiePie. So, yeah, he uploaded this like 1 minute ago, so in 3, 2, 1, let's react.
It was a movie I watched when I was 8 years old, and I thought it was a pretty cool sci-fi movie. But what I didn't know was that it was one of the most misunderstood movies ever. My 8-year-old self would be
most understood
surprised. Starship Troopers, a dumb space war movie. Starship Troopers, a brilliant satire of military propaganda. Starship Troopers, a movie that misunderstood the novel it was parodying and then got misunderstood for what it was parodying. Starship Troopers, war is stored in the balls.
War is stored in the balls?
It's me.
What the heck?
Lately, there's been a lot more articles talking about Starship Troopers as in the light of, we got it all wrong. How could we have been so blind? You're all a bunch of fools. Did you not understand? It was a joke? Wow.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
Your mom.
Your mom?
Maybe in retrospect, it's easy to point out how overly the top the satire is, but looking back at reviews at the time, it seems like a lot of people just didn't get it.
The exact words of the text. But do you understand it? Do you believe it?
So what really is being misunderstood here, and why? Let's investigate. Would you like to know more?
Would you like to know more?
Fully automatic burrito. Who wants to hold it?
Citizen rule. People making a better tomorrow.
The movie starts off with these military propaganda films, and it's really during these times that it should have been obvious. They're basically spelling out for us, hey, it's satire.
It's free real estate.
The story follows John Rico and Carmen Ibanez. I mean, just look at these two. These characters look like they came straight out of a Beverly Hills TV show. And
a Beverly Hills TV show.
Rumor has it that the director purposely selected these actors to just look that part, to make war look attractive, and all these pretty people are fighting. This idea is also reinforced through just how the film looks. It's not your ordinary gritty alien type of sci-fi. It looks and it's shot like a high school rom-com from the 90s. During one of their final classes, the teacher is explaining why only what's called citizens are allowed to vote.
He has only one arm.
Citizens allowed to vote.
But we're not really listening because we're distracted by the flirting and playfulness between Rico and his girlfriend. This scene is a perfect example on how this movie could get over people's head, despite at times beating the message over you with a stick.
I don't
know.
When school is over, they sign up for their military duty to become citizens. But before breaking apart, they make a promise to stay together.
Let's make a vow. No matter what, we'll always be friends.
Rico joins the infantry force, Ibanez joins the Starfleet. During one of Rico's training exercises, he pushes it too far, and an accident occurs.
Oh. No. Okay. An accident has occurred.
Pretty sure he's dead, mate. Pretty sure.
Yeah, pretty sure he's
To break down
dead.
the story to the bare minimum, Buenos Aires gets destroyed in an alien attack.
Buenos Aires has been wiped off the earth.
Ibanez ends up with another guy she meets at Starfleet, and Rico ends up with another girl that was all over him during high school. During the attack of the alien space planet, she then dies. Very tragic. Along with Ibanez's new boyfriend, who gets his brain sucked out. We don't need to show that.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's
they're gonna
pretty
be
gross.
demonetized.
The brain bug gets captured, and since it controls all the other bugs, the battle has been won, and they reach the amazing conclusion that
It's a fray!
Yeah!
it's afraid. It's afraid, everybody.
It's afraid.
So there they are, together back again, just like in the beginning. But they're really not with who they want to be. It's more of a, well, I guess our boyfriend and girlfriend died, so here we are. And the message of the story isn't, oh, we won, the war is over. It's, we won, but we must keep fighting. And
We won,
Ibanez and
but-
Rico is the figurehead of this next generations of fighters.
We must keep
just like it
fighting.
will just keep going and keep going.
Keep going. Yeah. I don't really understand this
Lieutenant John Rico.
video. It's not why. It's not a meme review. It's not a Pew News. And yeah. It's not a YLYL. So I don't know what this is.
When the movie came out,
Is it movie review? Is PewDiePie starting a new series called Movie Review? I don't know what
it got
series
terrible
is.
reviews and ratings in America. We were accused by the Washington Post of being neo-Nazis, the director says.
Neo-Nazis?
Also pointing out how in England they seem to have understand the joke. This movie is meant to be an exaggeration of America. Their "we are always right" attitude to war, which is probably why it flopped in the US and was a hit everywhere else in the world. One of the reviews that I could
$54
find that
million.
gave it 2 stars said this: "Want to know more? Yes, I did. I was particularly intrigued by the way the bugs had evolved organic launching pods that could spit their spores into space and could also fire big globs of unidentified fiery matter at the attacking spaceships. Since they have no technology, these abilities must have evolved along Darwinian lines. To say this severely tests the theory of evolution is putting it mildly." This is the point of the film. If you look at the attack of Buenos Aires, first of all, that guy is not from Buenos Aires.
Do something.
Yeah.
Buenos Aires, and I say kill them all.
You see the footage of the meteor, you see the fires, you see all the things. You don't see any bugs, you don't see any evidence of an actual attack. The society of Starship Troopers is completely dependent on war to function. And therefore they need an enemy to function. And for example, when the meteor attacks, Rico is more sure than ever that he wants to fight against the bug, when in reality, it was probably just a regular meteor. A movie like this will probably never exist today because of how carefully edited and selected they are by the studios. And I do think it's a fantastic film, and if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend watching it. And maybe it's time for a rewatch as well. But there's another side of the
it's time
story
for a
that
rewatch.
seem a lot of times untold. The book. While 99% of movies based off novels attempt to be as close as possible to resemble its source material to appease fans or the author, this film basically pulls down its pants and unloads the biggest dump it could possibly give on this novel. The only thing the movie really borrows from the novel is the bugs and the names of the characters. In the novel, in fact, there's barely any action in it. There's only really one fight, and the director of the film himself said that, "I stopped after 2 chapters because it was so boring." It is really quite a bad book. I asked Ed Neumeyer to tell me the story because I just couldn't read the thing. This kind of annoys me or anyone being...
Wow, so... Yeah, he thought it was a bad book. Okay, and he ended after two chapters because it was too boring. Okay.
a fan of the novel, really, because despite me maybe not agreeing with everything the novel says, it has a lot of interesting things to say. It's basically a parody that got misunderstood, and it still misunderstood what it was trying to parody. So are we back at the source material? I'd never seen anything
It's
like it. It's so
parodyception.
weird, it's so confusing. Hyland, the author,
it's parodyception.
difficult to point to because a lot of times he just seemed to enjoy playing around with ideas. They're without a doubt provocative, but that's what makes this a classic novel. Heinlein wrote Starship Troopers because he thought America
I don't know
was
what
getting
series
soft,
this
and
is.
The Bugs is flat out.
I don't know what series this is. It's not a meme review. Why? Maybe it's just a movie review. It's a movie review, guys. PewDiePie is doing another series. It's movie review.
At a description of a communist society. If you're looking for an epic space sci-fi battle of man between bugs, reading this, you'll definitely be disappointed. Here's some themes that was discussed in the novel. When the teacher in the beginning scene talks about civic duty, he discusses that anything that is given to you has no inherent value if it's given for free, which is why only what is known as citizens is allowed to vote. You could give someone an award without having them to work for it, but it wouldn't be worth the same to that person.
Come on, Fortnite ad. Why does Fortnite have ads? I mean, what the heck? They're too big of a game to actually have ads. Because they're so big. Everyone knows about Fortnite. Come on, you don't need ads, Fortnite.
Heinlein felt the same about voting. It shouldn't just be handed down to you. Democracy is something we fought for, but you won't appreciate it if it's handed down for free. I'm not saying I endorse his idea of having to perform military service to vote, but seeing how younger people are less and less inclined to vote, Pokemon going to the polls isn't really making anyone go to the polls. The teacher also discusses violence and the importance of it in this society.
Something given has no value. But when you vote, you are exercising political authority. You're using force. And force, my friends, is violence.
When the movie depicts violence as the ultimate source of conflict solver, you laugh because it's silly, it's dumb, and it's over the top, but
I wonder what the city fathers of Hiroshima would say about that. You.
They probably wouldn't say anything. Hiroshima was destroyed.
Correct.
what the fuck? Actually, while laughing, we're turning a blind eye to history, and maybe then it's not so funny. Punishment is a very long, important part of the novel.
Oh,
punishment
no.
is vital to the society, that we learn right and wrong from punishment. Man has no moral instinct. He is not born with moral sense. You were not born with it, I was not, and a puppy has none. We acquire moral sense when we do through training, experience, and hard sweat of the mind. Last but not least, the novel makes a very long case for why you should join the military. It feels like Heinlein wrote this to inspire young people, and that Rico's character growth, going from a boy to a man, is a reflection of his own. The novel makes the case that veterans should run society because they know what's best for mankind. They can make decisions that are tough, where one person gets to suffer for the better of the masses. While in our society, we're hyper-focused on individuals. The outcry of one person could have a massive effect on everyone.
Message from General Pepper. Priority 1.
I'm hereby directing the Department of
Donald
Defense
Trump.
and Pentagon to immediately begin the process necessary to establish a Space Force as the 6th branch of the armed forces. We must have American dominance.
America!
A lot of us look at war today as something that we moved away from. We avoid it because we know better now. But do we really? The society in Starship Troopers needed war for its society to function, but within its context, it might even be justified. But within ours, maybe not. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you with another one tomorrow. Goodbye.
Goodbye.